If you saw our Hear Me Out, you might be able to guess my topic based on Jake Long, Spyro, Smog. We're talking dragons, baby. From medieval Europe to ancient China. Because I felt like we couldn't not. We had to include a little bit of the Eastern mythology as well if we're talking about dragons.
Yeah.
You
know?
It
can't just all be European mythology.
No, fuck. What are we at?
It's like U.S. Renaissance period, only European countries.
Yeah.
Renaissance, all the other countries disappeared.
Yeah. History is Europe only, actually. I'm not sure if you're
Said
aware
like
of
every
that.
white person ever.
Have you seen the like TikToks where they like go into like a European country and they're like, oh, what do you think of, like, America? And they're like, they're so fucking dumb. And all they know is Europe and European history. I'm like, ask them something else.
Yeah.
Ask them Asian history.
Yeah. Yeah, ask them to speak another language. No, they all do that.
Ask them to speak something that's not, like, literally their next door neighbor.
Yeah. Ask them to speak Cantonese.
Yeah.
Ask them to speak Mandarin.
Watch all of them be like, yeah, you fucking idiots. Cantonese, Mandarin, insert here, because I can't speak those. So yeah, we're talking dragons. From medieval Europe to ancient China, from Renaissance paintings to Hollywood, USA, dragons have appeared in pretty much every culture and continue to ignite the imagination. Question number 1. What is a dragon? In most Western cultures, dragons are imagined as a large reptilian creature, often winged, scaled, and fire-breathing. Think claws, tails, smoke on the horizon. You get it. Sometimes they walk on 4 legs. Sometimes they only have 2. Some are noble and intelligent. Others are just ruthless monsters. The word dragon comes from the Greek word drakon, which I'm not going to pronounce correctly, and I'm so sorry. Originally meaning serpent. And that origin never quite leaves. Most dragons across myths are connected to serpents. So like wyverns and scales and all that stuff. Today, dragons feel like a fantasy, but for most of history, people believed that they were real. I'm blaming fossils and strange animal sightings, religious symbolism, and the vastness of all the things that were unknown that fed into fears and seeing things and hysteria.
Yep.
During the Renaissance, an era of expanding knowledge, but also largely superstitious. All right, so with the Renaissance dragon, the 14th to the 17th centuries were a strange cocktail of science and religion mixed in with a little bit of storytelling. So you had artists like Leonardo and Botticelli who were using their paintings to kind of shape the world's imagination. You had anatomists dissecting cadavers. You had Galileo mapping the universe and charting the stars. But then also, while all of these things are going on, there's also dragons flying around, allegedly.
Oh, so like while Galileo is looking up at the stars, it's just like... That's actually what he thought were constellations. There's just dragons flying through and shooting fire at them.
Shooting star? No, that's a dragon.
Yeah.
They weren't just fantasy monsters. They were symbols, representations of sin, chaos, nature, and the battles between good and evil. One of the most enduring examples is St. George and the Dragon. In the story, a dragon demands a sacrifice from a town. A princess is offered, and she's about to be devoured. St. George rides in, slays the dragon, and converts the town to Christianity. The dragon in the story isn't a monster, it's just an embodiment of evil, fear, and corruption. Margo. And they need to defeat it to restore divine order. Renaissance art is full of dragons. They crouch in corners of tapestries. They squirm at the feet of saints and altarpieces. They appear in like the edge drawings of manuscripts that monks would do. And they're not always a metaphor. Some people genuinely thought dragons might live in remote mountains or deep forest. Reports came from far-off lands. Bones were dug from hillsides. Massive, curved, unfamiliar. Were they dragons? Maybe. If not dragons, then what?
If not dragon, why dragon shape?
Why dragon shape if not dragon? So, moving across the globe, to the Eastern dragons. While Europe was fighting its dragons with spears and saints, Asia was revering them.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So the Chinese dragon, or the Long, Jake Long.
Jake Dragon.
The Chinese dragon were not fire-breathing monsters. They were celestial beings with long serpentine bodies. They were wingless and wise. They could control rain in the rivers. They shape the weather, winds, and they're seen as protectors and not threats. In Chinese culture, dragons symbolize power, luck, and divine authority. Ancient emperors claimed to be descended from dragons. Imperial robes bore dragons with 5 claws, symbols that no one else was allowed to wear. The Chinese zodiac sign includes a dragon, which is the only mythical creature in that lineup. They also name 9 types of dragons, each with its own role. Some dwell in the oceans, others in the clouds. They're everywhere, very elemental. There's even a dragon who sings, and his roar is said to be the origin of thunder.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. In Japan, there are dragons that share many traits with their Chinese cousins, but take on specific nuances. Japanese dragons are often tied to waterways and mountain shrines, guarding sacred spaces, or bringing wisdom to mortals. They're known to shapeshift, in some tales transforming into monks or women, testing the purity of the human spirit. So, like, a dragon's like, want to smash, showing up as like a big titty wench.
Relationship.
Like, yes! And the dragon's like, got ya!
It's like a relationship test.
Yeah.
You walk up on the
Loyalty
street.
test.
Yeah, loyalty test. You're like, hi, do you have a boyfriend? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, do you want to call him and put him to a loyalty test real quick? And they're like, yeah, sure. And they're like, hey, what are you doing?
The dragon shapeshifts. Is like, I like this. And they're like, I do like that. And then the girlfriend comes around the corner like, I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it. My mom always said you weren't shit.
Those tricky little dragons. What if those influencers are really just dragons?
I feel like some of the Japanese mythology we've covered, they're having fun.
They're messy. Yeah, they're messy.
They're like, give us some snacks and we'll stop terrorizing you. The dragons being like, loyalty test, let's go.
Purity test.
That's so funny. In Korea, dragons would also merge from the river in the sky. They're kind, wise, and associated with agriculture and prosperity. Their folklore includes serpent-like proto-dragons who must live 1,000 virtuous years to ascend to full dragonhood. They're like apprentices on the path to power. In Vietnam, dragons play a key role in founding myths of the Vietnamese people. The very first Vietnamese king, according to legend, was born of a dragon and a fairy.
That's
Hot.
cute. Love that.
I feel like that's like a...
That reminds me of the book I'm reading right now. It's
Yeah.
a Little Red Riding Hood spinoff.
Yeah.
But the wolf is born of, which he's not a wolf, he's a man.
Yeah.
But like not
But he's
a man.
like a big bad man.
Big bad man.
Yeah.
But his dad was like kind of a god of the forest. And
Okay.
then his mom was Gaia.
Oh.
Yeah. Like the queen of nature.
Yeah.
Or like the goddess of nature.
Yeah.
So
That's fun.
and those were his parents.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then he becomes a big man.
And yeah, he becomes a big bad wolf. He's a big bad wolf.
So different categories of dragons in Western legends. We have the classic dragon, 4 legs, 2 wings, fire breathing, smog, whatever. We have wyverns with 2 legs, 2 wings. If you're reading 4th wing and that, you know. We have worms, which are wingless and limbless, giant serpents.
That's a dragon?
Yeah, it's just like a big old...
A worm.
It's just a snake.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
some
silly
crawl through the
snake.
forest, others look in caves. Yeah. So yeah, literally just like little sneaky snakes. There's drakes, which are smaller wingless dragons. So like they're ground-bound predators or guardians. I imagine probably like a Komodo dragon in my head. I don't know if that's accurate, but that's what I'm imagining.
That checks out.
And then there's hydras from Greek mythology, multiple heads. They regenerate, nightmare fuel, Hercules. I'm sure we've seen the movie.
Yeah. Could drakes be chickens?
I don't see why not.
Okay. I'm going to say they're chickens.
Wingless dragons. Yeah.
They're small, wingless dragons. Mm-hmm. Ground-bound predators.
I want to know how many legs does Drake have? Because a wyvern,
How many
definitely
legs does
a
Drake
chicken.
have? 2. Drake has 2 legs. He don't be standing on them, though, ever since Kendrick cut him down.
That was so funny. Because I was like, it doesn't say. That was good. Man, fuck Drake. Yeah, so anyway, there are some hybrids, which are the cockatrices, which are part dragon, part rooster.
Ooh, we got fucking basilisks in
Cock
this
a
bitch.
fucking doodle doo.
We got a cock in here. He's got dragon wings, a chicken legs, a chicken head, basilisk,
Kikari, if you know what I mean.
cockatrices.
And then we have the lindworms, which are long-bodied dragons with a mix of limbs and wings. It varies.
A Lindt chocolate truffle. Sorry.
Did I say that?
No, you just said lindworms, and my mind immediately went to lint. Sorry.
I like the dark chocolate ones.
They're
Do you put
so
them in the
good.
freezer?
I have.
I like
yeah.
doing that.
Yeah, my favorite are the dark chocolate.
Dark
I really like the dark chocolate ones.
I love dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate is my favorite.
It's not me making fun of anyone because this is how I talked as a kid. So I need speech therapy. And then there were the I don't want to read that one because I don't know how to say it.
Amphipeters.
Amphiteris.
Yep. Amphipteris.
There's the anemone. There's the Amphipteris, which is a winged serpent, sometimes feathered. So honestly, if you combine that with the cockatrice, boom, basilisk.
Yeah. Sounds like basilisk is a dragon.
Eastern dragons don't fall into these same classifications. Many have without wings. Many don't have wings and they can still fly, and some can shapeshift. Oh my god, I'm having a stroke.
Are you? Do you smell toast?
No.
Smile. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Some can shapeshift. Others exist between spirit realms, but they're not alone. In Mesoamerica, we can find. Ooh, I meant to look up how to say
The Quetzalcoatl. Oh my god, that we used to say this in. Yeah, Quetzalcoatl.
Okay. In Mesoamerica, we find the Quetzalcoatl, which is a feathered serpent god of the Aztecs. Not technically a dragon, but close enough. Powerful, ancient, divine. It's like a global multiverse of dragon design. Honestly, every culture reinventing the creature to fit its worldview, values, and fears. Here's a little chart of a bunch of different dragons.
Nice. Oh my god, they're like little Pokemon.
They are little Pokemon.
Little Pokemon.
Yeah. Super fun.
Dude, tell me that Drake doesn't look like a chicken. No, just kidding. But the cockatrice does. Maybe that's where the
cockatrice,
word cock
yeah,
came
that
from.
literally looks. That's a fucking chicken if I've ever seen one. Do you
That's a
think chickens
goddamn
used to have
chicken.
long tails and then they stopped because we didn't like it?
I'm telling you right now, chickens are dinosaurs or dragons or whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
They are. I'm telling you, I know it in my bones.
Well, there's like that whole thing of like taking a T-Rex or any other dinosaur bones and comparing it to bird bones, and we know birds have wings, and they're looking at it being like, okay, like
They're the same.
technically it's the same.
Yeah.
So all of these things could have had wings. Boom, dragon. You know?
Yeah. And they're finding that a lot of dinosaurs that they didn't realize, like, what their skin looked like had feathers.
Yeah, because
So-
they used to just like basically take the bones and then stretch skin over it, and they're like, this is how
This
it
is
looked.
what it looked, yeah.
But no, because
No.
there's also with I want to say elephant skulls or mammoth skulls. They thought it was cyclopses because the way that they look, but no, it's just a mammoth, just an elephant, just a mammoth. So yeah, I could see these all because we're like, yeah, dinosaurs for sure, but people are like, dragons, no way. Probably the same thing.
They're probably the same thing.
Probably same.
All of these other ones, the worm, the Quetzalcoatl, the sea serpent, those are all snakes.
Yeah, sneaky snakes. Do you think the Loch Ness Monster is just a dragon?
Yes.
I do too.
Yeah.
I want to go to Scotland.
I see. You named my daughter after the Loch Ness Monster.
I did not too, honestly. I just birthed a vampire baby. I almost died, and I come out of it.
I did die.
Yeah.
I did die,
Yep.
and then my husband had to rip into my pussy with his teeth to bring me back to life.
Not the pussy.
And you named my daughter after the Loch Ness Monster? How fucking... And then you imprinted on her? You fucking...
I'd be so
Cutting
mad.
it out.
I would never get over that. I would never get over that.
No.
But like, you pervert. She's a baby.
She's a literal baby.
She's been a baby for like only 5 days, but she's a baby.
She's gonna stop growing when she's like 18, though.
I don't like that.
Yeah, it's weird. He's gonna be like 60.
Stephanie, why? You didn't
She's a
have to.
weird Mormon.
Yeah.
Weird Mormon.
It's like literally make believe. You could have made it anything you wanted it to be, and that's what you chose.
I think that about every fantasy romance novel. I'm like, okay, you could have chosen any age, but you chose 19.
Yeah, I don't like that. Just make everyone like college age or make them 25. Because
Yeah.
I still made very stupid decisions at 25. I'm making stupid decisions at 31. I'm going to be really honest with you. So, age up your main characters.
Yeah, there is no reason for a main character to be 19 and her betrothed to be 130.
Hi, my name's Favor. I'm 19 and I don't know how to read.
Hi, my name's Tamlin, and I'm not going to teach you how to read. I'm just going to lock you inside my castle and keep you to myself.
Mm-hmm. Flipping the blonde hair. So anyway, dragons.
So I'll dick you down real good.
Arrest that man!
Sorry, I meant to say that like 2 seconds ago, but it was like stuck in my throat.
That was so funny. So dragons in religion. In Renaissance Europe, dragons weren't just creatures of story, they were religious icons and warnings. Christianity cast dragons as a stand-in for Satan. In the book of Revelations, it describes a 7-headed dragon swept from heaven. In art, hell's mouth is often drawn as a monster's gaping jaws, belching fire and swallowing the damned. That imagery carried forward into the fire-breathing dragons of legend. I almost said George Michael, and that's not what that says. Saints like George Michael.
Hell yeah.
You don't have faith.
Our Lord and Savior, George Michael.
Saints like George, Margaret, and Michael are often shown slaying dragons. These aren't just heroic feats, they are moral victories over temptation and evil. Outside the church, dragons appeared in heraldry. Nobles and warriors used them as symbols of strength, danger, and divine right. The dragon of Wales, still flying on the national flag, is one of the oldest dragon symbols in Europe. And in Arthurian lore, King Uther Pendragon literally bears the dragon as part of his name, head of the dragon. But on the symbolism, you always get a double-edged sword. A dragon could represent you if you're a king, or your enemy if you're a saint.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you're like king, it's like powerful. You're...
Yeah.
But if you're saying it's like, that's Satan. So I think very interesting because there was like a lot of rift between the church
no, my ear
and
fell
the
off.
king.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I only got one ear.
Damn, Van Gogh.
Keep an ear out.
You shouldn't paint me.
Keep an ear out.
I like the way it feels.
Anyway, let's sit here and play with it.
Yeah. In the East, dragons, as we have discussed, are used in religious contexts, but positively. In Taoism, they're part of the natural order, woven into landscapes and sacred geometry.
Landscapes?
Woven into landscapes. Woven into landscapes and sacred geometry. Temples are guarded by stone dragons. Scrolls depicted them weaving through clouds. They balance rather than disrupt the cosmos. Today, dragons are more alive than ever, at least in our imaginations. And also the Dinosaur Museum. We have Smaug from The Hobbit, we have Daenerys' dragons, and Skyrim, obviously. I don't know if you've played Skyrim. I was unemployed out of college, and all I did was sit and play Skyrim. And my mom would be like, "Did you get a job today?" I was like, "No, but I killed like 2 dragons, so that's pretty impressive."
Yeah, I played Skyrim right out of high school, but I played Oblivion a ton in high school.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's fun. It made me feel accomplished, even though I didn't. Eventually, I got a job. Children's media.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Put those sounds in here. Children's media, they're all over the place. How to Train Your Dragon, Spyro, as we mentioned before, Dragon Tales.
Dragon Tales.
Did you watch Dragon Tales?
I love Dragon
Tales. I love that little pink one. She's so cute.
She was very cute.
Mm-hmm. These creatures have evolved into everything from noble allies to goofy sidekicks, but many of their traits trace directly back to the Renaissance dragon specifically, fire-breathing, gold-hoarding, world-ending potential. At the same time, modern depictions are a little more flexible. So we see the noble protectors, the wise sages, and comic reliefs, but they're always fucking massive.
Yeah.
Huge dragons, usually, instead of, like, the little cute guys.
We have Dragon and Donkey.
Dragon and Donkey.
They're the cutest
She's a big old... She's a woman of a dragon,
She's
a
woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's a...
I feel like if Dragon was a pop star...
She'd be Meg Thee Stallion.
That was my thought, yeah.
Oh my god, really?
Like, hot.
Yeah, no, she's like, that is something
that is a woman.
Dragon is...
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Did you see Meg Thee Stallion's going to be on Love Island?
No.
I saw a thing today.
Is it real?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, if it's real...
Because I saw, I'm going to be honest with you, I saw Body first, and I've watched enough Meg Thee Stallion thirst traps to know, I was like, is that Meg?
Yeah.
And then it shows face, and I'm like,
Meg! Oh!
What's happening on Love Island? So I need to watch and see.
Guest appearance.
See, I feel like no matter who it is on Love Island, they're gonna be like, okay, so I'm obviously gonna go for Meg.
Yeah, I don't care who you are.
Right.
Hi, Meg. That would be me. I'd be like, you better drop on all fours and bark like you want it.
Like, one episode I'd be like, yeah, we have like such a strong connection. Next episode, I don't fucking know you. Don't talk to me.
Who are you? Who? Meg?
I do not know this man. I've never seen this man a day in my life.
Yeah, all I know is Meg. I live, breathe, and eat Meg.
Megalomaniacs.
Yeah. Sorry,
Hi, Meg. If you want to come on our podcast, we would really love that. We basically have 150 subscribers.
We wouldn't even have a podcast because I wouldn't even be able to talk. I'd just be like...
I wouldn't either. I'm not good with people that I find attractive, which is why I tend to date people who, like...
You don't find it attractive?
Not physically. We'll work on that. Okay, so my big question, which we brought up a few times, is were dragons just dinosaurs? In a way, partially. Ancient people, like we do now, stumble upon massive bones and fossils of mammoths, whales, and dinosaurs. But without paleontology, what were they honestly supposed to think of it? You know, they're like, I heard about this at the church. That's a dragon.
Which?
Skull the size of a wagon, clearly a dragon. A tusk poking from a hillside, dragon horn. In Europe, such relics were sometimes kept in churches. In China, dragon bones were ground into powder for traditional medicine long before anyone knew of the word fossil, quote unquote. Okay, so what have we learned? Dragons everywhere, all over the globe. In Renaissance Rome, they symbolized sin and danger. other areas like the East, they symbolize wisdom, nature, divine power, all of that. They're monsters. They're gods. They're metaphors. They are fossils of dragons. They are... Yeah, that's it. That's what they are. Yay! Good job, me!
Yay! Wow, that was amazing.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed that little story, be sure to watch the full episode here.
And make sure you like, subscribe, and all that jazzy.
Jazzy? I see what you did there. Wait, what was that?